This PowerPoint will cover books 19 and 20 of Homer's The Iliad. Book 19 begins with Achilles finally agreeing to come back to the battle, and this is after the death of Patroclus has come to be, and also after the whole plan that Thetis made come into existence when she went and begged Zeus for help for her son Achilles to be honored. Keep in mind, again, I cannot stress this enough, that the theme of the book is not necessarily the war, but to satisfy the rage that was on behalf of Achilles because he had felt slighted. So once he can come back into battle, he will be glorified, thus his name will live forever. However, I don't think that this is quite how he wanted his glorification to come into existence with the death of Patroclus. So once he finally agrees to come back to the battle, he accepts new armor that his mother Thetis had forged for him. And this would be the shield of Achilles. And there is so much that goes into the shield. The shield predicts and basically gives out the history and the future different things on Achilles' shield. All represent something. And this has been forged by Hephaestus, who is the husband of Aphrodite. The Achaeans are greatly relieved when Achilles comes back into battle because it gives them a great sense of hope. Again, once he comes back, Agamemnon re-offers the gifts that he once agreed to give if Achilles would come back into fighting, and Agamemnon takes on his part the responsibility for the discrepancy that took place. So basically, he admits his folly, and Achilles wants no part of that. The material possessions at this time are worthless and meaningless to him because he is coming back not to help Agamemnon, not to help the Greeks, but to only avenge Patroclus's death. Also in book 19, Odysseus serves as a voice of reason. When Achilles comes back into the scene, he immediately wants all of the men to fight. He immediately wants to go thrust into battle, but Odysseus is wise and says, "Let the men eat and rest." And it's basically, we know that you are rested up, you are full, you are not tired, you are ready for battle. However, these men have not had the luxury of getting to sit back and watch the fight, basically, as you have. And Achilles refuses to eat. He refuses to bathe, basically refuses to eat, sleep, do anything until there has been some kind of payment, justification for Patroclus's death. His motives, again, are fighting not to aid the Greeks, but to avenge Patroclus. And then there is this oath of honor that takes place about Briseis. Remember, Briseis was the war prize that Agamemnon stole from Achilles, and he vows before Zeus that he had no sexual relationship with her, because that would have further not only gone to tarnish her, but it would have slighted Achilles as well. And here, also in book 19, we see some of Homer's personification. We have seen the horses weep at Patroclus' death, but we also see the horse speak to Achilles, that he will return to battle, and the horse predicts the fated death of Achilles as well. As book 20 begins, the Zeus allows the immortals. Now it's basically a free-for-all. Anybody can help on any side. It doesn't matter. We just got to get this party started, get it over with. Aeneas goes up. Remember, Aeneas is on the Trojan side. He challenges Achilles. It is not yet in the cards for Aeneas to die. If he fights Achilles, more than likely he would be killed. So Poseidon intervenes and saves Aeneas, because Aeneas has got to live, because once we get it, you finally get into reading the Aeneid, that is the story of Aeneas, just how also in 101 we are going to cover the Odyssey, which is a story about the Odysseus, the Greek warrior, trying to get home. The same thing goes for Aeneas. He is a Trojan soldier trying to, now that the war is over, what's going to happen to him. So he's got to lead the remaining Trojan people. So he absolutely cannot die. So there we have the intervention on by Poseidon. Apollo aids Hector and is basically trying to delay the inevitable because Hector will die and will pay the price for killing Patroclus. Fate is a very, very important theme that we have seen underscoring just about every event that takes place. It seems that the men are capable of changing fate. And this goes into if you are weighing the odds between fate and free will. Do men have the choice to do what they want to do, or does fate override it? In the natural hierarchy of things, because technically these gods are not real, therefore they are somewhat a figment of the imagination of the people who worship them. They cannot technically change what happens, so that leads someone to conclude that fate trumps the gods. The way that the whole deity system worked, it was a way that the mortals could explain away the everyday. They could explain away things that were happening. However, if something was going to happen, then there was nothing that anybody could do. So if something was out of the hands of the gods, then it must be fate. Therefore, fate trumps the will of the gods. And the gods basically police the mortals to act within their fate. And they're trying to, the fate is going to happen anyway because fate is what has happened. And basically, fate in this tense or this case means history, what has happened, because the stories are being told in retrospect. So what has happened before then? And so then, with that in mind, could men actually change their fate? If men can possibly change fate, even worry the gods, if the gods are afraid something could or could not happen, then who is ultimately more powerful? And that is something that you can really sink your teeth into and grapple with this idea: who is more powerful? If the mortals can change what is going to happen, then technically are they more powerful than the gods?